Hello. Hello, police. Yeah, what's the problem, sir? We just drove down our farm track. Yeah. Go and feed our pheasants. We come across a Range Rover with 3 people in it. Yeah. It appears that they're dead. I don't know what's happening. Blood in the motor all over them.
And welcome back to a new video on the Essex Boys case. As always, if you are enjoying the content, please do give the video a thumbs up. And if you're interested in the Essex Boys case, or simply true crime in general, don't forget to hit the subscribe button below. The Range Rover in which the 3 died was bought 2 weeks ago by victim Craig Rolfe, who shared his pal's passion for motors. A neighbour in Grays, Essex said yesterday, quote, "He always seemed to have different cars on his drive, as if he was a car dealer. There were rumours he was involved with stealing cars and selling drugs. One time I saw police literally dismantling a car on his drive." Rolfe, 26, shared a 3-bed detached house with girlfriend of 7 years, Donna Jaggers, 26, and their 6-year-old daughter. They moved into the £80,000 home on the commuter estate of Chafford Hundred about 18 months ago. A woman living nearby said the couple seemed quite secretive. They always kept their curtains drawn and had little contact with their neighbours. She added, quote, "We sometimes saw them walking their dog, but on the whole they were rarely to be seen. Just a week ago there was a police pickup truck outside his house, and about 6 months ago the house seemed to be subject of police surveillance. We saw men sitting in cars outside the house on several occasions." Several neighbours remembered seeing the blue Range Rover in which the men were found dead. Yesterday, Rolfe's house, set on the end of a row of 4 homes, was deserted, and the curtains closed. The following newspaper article is from the 11th of December 1995, with the headline, "Police warn of gang war after drug murders." Police investigating the murder of 3 drug dealers on a remote Essex farm track fear more violence could erupt as rival gangs try to move into the area. Yesterday, as further details emerged of the criminal careers of the 3 victims, Detective Superintendent Ivan Dibley warned that the murders could trigger a turf war. He said, quote, "I know that when 3 people who are involved in drug dealing are taken from the scene, somebody will try to fill the void that is created," he said. "I anticipate because of that there will be a power struggle taking place and potentially there could be more violence." The dead men, Craig Rolfe, 26, Patrick Tate, 37 and Tony Tucker, 38, all from the Basildon area, had been involved in a range of crimes from petty theft to armed robbery. But recent intelligence had shown that they were moving into the drugs trade as wholesalers rather than street traders. They were, said Mr. Dibley, quite high up the drug dealing hierarchy, peddling the complete range of illegal narcotics. However, Mr. Dibley ruled out any direct connection with Leah Betts, the Essex teenager who died after buying an ecstasy tablet at a Basildon nightclub. He said, quote, "There has been a lot of speculation that the killings are linked with the tragic death of Leah Betts. This is pure speculation. There is nothing to link these 3 men with Leah's death, and this suggestion may well divert attention from the real investigation." Mr. Dibley said that the men had been threatened, quote, "The drugs world is a very murky world. There has been so much publicity in recent weeks. It is clearly easy money, and it is known that there are power struggles among dealers." Police are unclear why the men were murdered. One theory is that they were killed by a rival gang trying to prevent them muscling in on a lucrative trade. Mr. Dibley continued, "There are no signs that any attempt was made to escape from the car. These people were more than street dealers, and it may be that others were trying to prevent them getting into a greater position of power." An alternative police theory was that the deaths of the 3 men who worked together were linked to an unpaid debt. The post-mortem examination results confirmed that the 3 men were killed with a shotgun. 7 cartridges were found in the snow close to the car. Rolfe, who was in the driver's seat of his Range Rover, and Tucker, who was sitting alongside him, were both shot in the head. Tate, who was in the back seat, died of multiple shotgun wounds. Police are not sure whether the killer arrived in the Range Rover with his victims and if he had an accomplice. Mr. Dibley, who said there was no evidence of a struggle in the car, said, "I suspect that these shootings were carried out very quickly. There are no signs that any attempt was made to escape from the car." The post-mortem examination, which was carried out more than 24 hours after the bodies were found at the remote track at Rettendon near Chelmsford, was unable to confirm the time of death. But Mr Dibley said Rolfe failed to make a rendezvous with his girlfriend Donna Jaggers at 8 p.m. on Wednesday. Yesterday, Miss Jaggers, the mother of his 6-year-old daughter, made a tearful appeal for anyone with information to come forward. She said, quote, "I would just like anyone who was with them, who knows anything about what has happened to them, or if they saw anything, to just come forward." The following newspaper article is from the 9th of December 1995, with the headline, "Only their mums will miss these evil beasts." Only the mothers and girlfriends of the 3 murdered drug barons wept for them yesterday. People living in the Essex mobsters' manor did not hide their relief that the dealers paid the ultimate price for their evil. Pat Tate, 37, Craig Rolfe, 26, and 38-year-old Tony Tucker were executed by a hitman in their Range Rover after being lured to a drugs meet on a snowy country track. A pensioner calling at a newsagent's near Muscleman Tate's Basildon bungalows said, quote, "There will be no tears shed for them round here. All 3 were parasites who preyed on kids. I'll be raising a glass tonight to the man who killed them. I only wish he'd got 20 more. Tate had been in and out of prison for armed robbery and weapons offences, but his grief-stricken mother Marie insisted, quote, "My Pat was not the evil monster he is being portrayed as. To me, he was a lovely boy." The 56-year-old widow added, "Whatever he may have done, he did not deserve to die like this, shot to pieces in a Range Rover." Tate's tearful ex-lover, Sarah Saunders, insisted he was not all bad. Blonde Sarah, mother of his 2-year-old son, claimed he was once a lovable rogue, but he was turned into a violent beast by drugs given to him while he was in jail. Sarah, 28, said, "I still have feelings for him, you can't just switch off. But the man shot dead wasn't the caring man I knew. The drugs Pat took in prison changed his personality completely, and it terrified me." The pair were pictured happily together at Marie's house 3 years ago, following Tate's release from a term he served for armed robbery. He wrote on the back of the snap, "First weekend home in Mum's garden." But after a 10-year romance, Sarah quit Tate's Basildon home 5 weeks ago as he ended another jail stretch. She said, quote, "We had split up, but it is still a horrible shock when someone you've been so close to has been killed so horribly." Craig Rolfe's girlfriend, Donna Jaggers, broke down as she appealed for information that will snare the hitman. The 26-year-old blonde sobbed, "Anyone who knows anything or saw anything, could they just come forward, because we need all the help we can get." Police said Tate, who was in the back of the Baron's Range Rover, was blasted 3 times in the head and chest with a 12-bore shotgun. Driver Rolfe and Tucker were both shot twice in the head. Tate's death came 8 months after he survived a previous hit attempt. The man heading the murder inquiry, Chief Superintendent Ivan Dibley, said the trio were high up the drugs chain and may have been the victims of a double-cross. He warned of an all-out turf war between rival gangs as other villains tried to step into the void left by the victims. Mr Dibley could not confirm whether the trio dealt in the killer drug ecstasy or if they were linked to the death of 18-year-old Leah Betts. 2 17-year-old Basildon youths were held yesterday and charged with supplying a drug to Leah. They will be in court next month. The following newspaper article is from the 9th of December 1995 with the headline, "Monster beat up diner boss over a pizza." Brutal bodybuilder Pat Tate went berserk in a pizza parlour the night before he was killed. He gave a chilling demonstration of his ferocity when he hurled the shop till against the wall, punched manager Roger Ryle and swashed his head into a glass plate on the sink. Roger, 21, suffered a gashed forehead, bruises and concussion in the frenzied attack, but he said he did not press charges after police told him Tate was well known to them and might do him more damage if he took action. Hulking Tate, who weighed 18 stone, drove from his Basildon home to the town's London Pizza Company branch after arguing with Roger on the phone. A woman who was with him called to demand the delivery of a pizza with 4 different toppings on each quarter. When Roger tried to explain it was not on the menu, Tate grabbed the phone and screamed, "You will deliver the pizza I want or I'll come round and get it." Roger refused because of his attitude. Half an hour later, Tate burst in and attacked him in front of his girlfriend Sally Tilbrook, 16, who also works there, and a delivery boy. The manager said, quote, "When I heard he had been killed, my first thought was, it couldn't have happened to a nicer fella." Sally said, quote, "He had this horrible fixed stare and seemed calm and cruel." Tate spent thousands transforming his bungalow after moving in 2 years ago. Yesterday, a Swish Mercedes and VW Passat were parked in the drive. But a neighbour said, quote, "They are bangers compared to some of the motors I've seen round there. Porsches, brand new Mercs, and even a fantastic Rolls Royce would roll up regularly. Everyone used to wonder where he got all his money from, but no one dared to ask."